Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to today's podcast. We are truly happy to have you here because the topic we are going to discuss is something timeless, something that has shaped civilizations, changed human destiny, and continues to impact every aspect of our daily lives. Today, Kasem and I are going to talk about books, about the habit of reading, and about why reading more is not just a hobby but a necessity in the modern world. Reading is like opening a door into thousands of worlds, into different perspectives, into lessons we would never experience otherwise. So let's sit down, relax, and go deep into the world of books and knowledge.
Yes, Sarah. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. Reading is one of those things that almost everyone knows is important, yet not everyone practices enough. We live in a time when distractions are everywhere. Social media, endless entertainment, constant notifications, and in this noisy environment, the simple act of reading a book can feel like a quiet revolution. Over the next hour, we want to talk about why books are so powerful, how they change our brain, how they shape our character, and why investing time in reading is one of the best investments anyone can ever make in themselves.
Kasem, let's begin with something simple but very deep. What is the real value of a book? A book is not just paper and ink, it is a container of ideas. Every book we open carries the mind of another person, often someone who has spent years or even a lifetime collecting wisdom, experiences, and lessons, and then compressed all of it into a few hundred pages. When we read, we are literally entering the thoughts of great minds, of people who lived before us, people who faced challenges, discovered solutions, and left behind their knowledge for us to benefit from. Isn't it amazing that with just a few hours of reading, we can gain the essence of decades of someone's life experience?
Exactly, and what amazes me even more is that books break the limits of time and space. Imagine you are holding a book written 500 years ago, maybe by a philosopher, a poet, or a scientist. The person who wrote it is long gone, yet their ideas are alive, traveling through centuries, speaking directly to you. This is something almost magical, because no other medium has carried human wisdom across generations with such power and clarity. While technology changes fast, while trends come and go, the book remains one of the most reliable bridges between.
I agree, and there's also the mental benefit. When people read regularly, their brain becomes sharper. There are countless studies showing that reading improves memory, concentration, empathy, and even helps reduce stress. Unlike scrolling through social media, which often fragments our attention and makes us restless, reading demands focus. When we immerse ourselves in a book, our mind learns to stay with one thought, one story, or one argument for a longer time, and this builds mental discipline. It's almost like a workout for the brain.
Yes, and if we compare this to how people spend time nowadays, the difference is striking. Many spend hours watching short videos or browsing posts, but after all that time, they hardly remember anything useful. In contrast, if you spend the same 2 hours reading a good book, whether it's about history, psychology, or even a novel, you walk away with insights that stay with you for life. I personally believe that reading shapes character. It teaches patience. It teaches us to listen to other voices, to explore ideas we might not agree with, and to develop empathy. This is why great leaders throughout history were always avid readers. That's such a powerful point, and I think it's important to mention that reading is not just about quantity, but also about quality. It's not enough to read dozens of books if they are shallow or repetitive. Choosing the right books is like choosing the right friends. They influence us deeply. If you surround yourself with books that challenge your thinking, inspire you, and teach you practical wisdom, you will grow much faster. But if you waste your time on books that don't add value, it's almost the same as scrolling endlessly through entertainment with no direction.
Exactly, and here's something else. Books are not just for gaining information, they are for transformation. The right book at the right time can completely change the direction of someone's life. I remember reading a story about a young person who picked up a self-development book by accident in a library, and that book motivated them to start their own business. Within years, their life was completely transformed, simply because of one book. Isn't it fascinating that a few words printed on paper can change the destiny of a human being?
It is, and it shows that reading is an active process. When you read, you are not just absorbing. You are interacting, questioning, agreeing, disagreeing, imagining. A book does not just give you answers, it provokes your own mind to think more deeply. This is why I always encourage people not to just read passively, but to underline, to take notes, to discuss ideas from books with friends. This way, the knowledge truly becomes part of who you are.
I think another important point is the emotional journey. Novels, for example, may not teach us scientific facts, but they teach us empathy. When we live through the experiences of a character, when we cry with them, laugh with them, or struggle with them, we expand our emotional world. Studies show that people who read fiction regularly have higher levels of empathy and are better at understanding others' emotions. And in a world where division and misunderstanding are so common, empathy is a skill more valuable than ever.
Yes, and this is why I believe every home should have a library, even a small one. A house without books feels empty, while a house with books feels alive. And you don't need to be wealthy to build a library, secondhand books, digital books, even borrowing from friends or libraries. There are so many ways. What matters is to make reading a daily habit, just like eating or sleeping. If people dedicate even 30 minutes a day to reading within a year, that adds up to around 12,000 minutes. Enough to read dozens of books and gain knowledge that can change their life.
So, dear listeners, as we come to the end of today's discussion, I want you to reflect on one simple question. When was the last time you sat down and truly read a book? Not because you had to, but because you wanted to grow, to learn, to escape into another world? Reading is not an old-fashioned activity. It is a timeless tool that can still change lives today. We often look for quick fixes, shortcuts, and secrets to success, but sometimes the secret is simply this. Open a book and let it shape your mind.
Yes, and remember, success in life is not only about money or fame. It's about the depth of your understanding, the richness of your thoughts, the clarity of your values. Books give us all of that. If you want to be wiser, calmer, more empathetic, and more capable, then reading is the most direct path. As the saying goes, readers are leaders. And it's true because when you read, you are always a few steps ahead. Ahead in knowledge, ahead in vision, ahead in possibilities.
So let's make a promise to ourselves and to each other. No matter how busy life gets, we will carve out time to read. Even a few pages a day can slowly transform us. Let's invest in our minds, because unlike material things, knowledge can never be taken away from us. With every book we read, we plant seeds of wisdom, seeds that will grow and bear fruit in every area of our lives.
Thank you, dear friends, for joining us in this journey. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to pick up a book, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, and start reading with fresh passion. Until we meet again in the next episode, take care, keep growing, and never stop learning. Goodbye for now. L.